Today we are going to go over the features and functions of the Toshiba IBS-200 Discriminator bill counter. Discriminator, easy for me to say. Discriminator references that the machine can discriminate between denominations of currency. Therefore, this machine not only will it count banknotes as individual pieces of paper, it also has full counterfeit detection capabilities, so it'll review the money and inspect it to see if it is a suspect counterfeit bill, but it will also discriminate on denominations, meaning if you're counting singles or fives or tens, it will actually detect if there is a different denomination in that stack. The machine has two basic operating modes. One is called the auto mode, the other is called the mixed mode. In auto mode, we see the button on the right hand side, second one down. Auto is highlighted, mixed is grayed out. That means we are in the auto mode. It is also very easily identified in that it has the large numeric displays. In auto mode, what the machine will do is it'll detect the first bill through the machine and determine which denomination it is counting. In this case, if we are putting through a stack of $1 bills, it'll take the bill off the bottom, it'll determine which denomination it's counting, and it will look for only that denomination to be approved. Anything that does get counted and approved is going to show up in the bottom hopper, and that will also be added into the display. If it is rejected as either being a different denomination or being a suspect counterfeit bill, it will end up into the reject pocket. What we're going to do in the auto mode for demonstration is count this stack of singles. The singles can be in any orientation, right side up, upside down, face up, face down. As I put the money in there, we do have the auto start feature turned on, so all I have to do is drop that money in and the machine will start. It'll continue counting. In this case, it rejected no bills, and it tells me I have 51 singles in this stack. What I am going to do is insert a $20 bill into my stack of singles. When I attempt to count this again, the machine is set to automatically clear out the previous total and count. Again, it's going to be going by the very bottom bill to determine what we're counting. Going to say I've got 51 bills for a total dollar value of $51, and it rejected my $20 bill because it was the wrong denomination. While we're in the auto mode, I would like to show you the batch counting feature. That is in the top left hand corner of our display. When I press the batch counting feature, I can tell it how many in a batch I would like to count. In this case, I'm going for a demonstration, push the 10. The 10 will show up here. When I say OK, it's going to tell me I'm counting 10 pieces at a clip. What the machine will do is it'll count out 10 pieces and it'll pause for me to remove those pieces from the acceptance hopper. So every batch of 10, it's going to tell me my batch is full. I'm going to remove that. While I'm banding that, it's counting out the next batch. And you can see it counted out 5 batches at 10 in a batch and left the one additional single. The other functions I would like to go over in this mode are the facing and the orienting. Facing is to bring all of the bills face up, so we're looking at the president. if you have we're going to call it bills face down, so we're seeing the greenbacks, or we're going to have bills upside down, or we can have bills upside down, and face down. So basically we have a mixed stack here. It's all single dollar bills, but all confused. I'm not very good at shuffling, that's why I didn't make it in Vegas. Okay. What I'd like to do is clean up the stack of money so that it is all face up and right side up. The first step we're going to do is get everything face up. So I'm going to push the face button. It's going to tell me face on the display. I'm going to clear my 10-piece count by just telling it I want to go up to 100 and say OK. Now it's going to accept all bills that are face up, and it's going to reject any bills that are face down. You can see my acceptable stack is now all faced up. And the nice thing, the way the machine is designed, is all of my bills that were face down are put into the reject hopper face up. I'm going to take that stack and put it on top of my bills that were already face up. I'm going to push the orient button, and now it's going to find any bills that are upside down, where the president is standing on its head. In this case, any bills that were already properly oriented passed the test. Bills that were not were put into the reject pocket. I simply flip them over. They are already right side up. I put them on top of my stack. And now I have a complete stack of money that is face up, properly oriented for batching, for banding. To turn off the face and orient mode, I push the value button, and that will clear that. When it says value, it's not going to be doing face up or orientation. The next mode I would like to show you is our mixed counting mode. In mixed counting mode, we can count multiple denominations. The denominations can be face up, they can be face down, they can be right side up, upside down. We know we are in the mix mode when we see the small grid, the smaller font grid. In the left-hand column, it's going to tell me what denominations it is identified, how many pieces or how many notes of that denomination, and then what the value is. So if it finds two $50 bills, under the 50 line it'll say 2, and the total value will be $100. I've got a mixed stack of money here, mixed denominations. Put that on the machine for counting, and we're going to see that we have $229 in this stack. There's 15 notes, and that's made up of 4 singles, 3 $5 bills, 1 $10 bill, 5 20s, 2 50s, and 0 $100 bills. Here's the value of each of those denominations and the grand total. This works out very nicely when there are long lines at the cashier's window, and let's say during a real estate tax collection cycle, and somebody comes in with a couple $1,000s of mixed bills and plops that down on the counter. The cashier can take that stack of money, doesn't have to worry about the orientation or the sequence of them, get a total value count, just to be sure, can put it on a second time, $229. It is $229. That is what the person told me it was. can hit the print button, and on the printer, all of the values on this display will get printed out on the receipt. The cashier can then tear that off, ban that money, put it in his or her drawer, and move on to the next customer. Once the lines subside at a later time, the cashier can sort out this money, or it can be sorted out as a back office function. That can be done very quickly and easily by going back into our value mode, our auto mode. In auto mode, if you will remember, it's going to see what denomination we're counting by looking at the bottom bill. Once we've identified what the bottom bill is, we're going to accept those and reject everything else. In this case, the bottom bill is a 20. So as I put the stack of money on there, we're going to get 20s are accepted. I can set those aside. And we have still mixed denominations. We have a single at the bottom. So next we will be sorting out the singles. We have a $10 bill at the bottom. I'm sorry. I must have, at any rate, we counted out the 5s here. Putting a $50 bill at the bottom. We got our two 50s. I think the 10 had rejected on the other stack. So we counted out the 10. This 5 did reject earlier, that's why it did not get included in our 5s, but as I ran it through a second time, it did clear. It may have been a little skewed in our previous count, and therefore it kicked it out as a suspect. When a bill does kick out as a suspect, I do recommend that you run it through one or two more times to see if it continuously kicks out as a suspect. If it does, and a folded bill such as this should reject. Oh. One way or another we might get it to reject. Once a bill does reject, we can hit the function button to go onto the second screen. We can push the reject button. It's going to tell us misdenomination reflection, and what that may not be all that meaningful to you in some cases. In other cases, it will tell you why the bill was rejecting. In this case, misdenomination, it was not able to read what the denomination was, and hence it rejected it. Flatten that bill back out. Go back into our home mode, and it did count that. Another feature that this machine has is the ability to cash out a drawer very quickly. We have already sorted our money so that it's we have our singles, our 5s, our 10s, our 20s, and our 50s. What I'm going to do is, in the auto mode, figure out how much money we have here in a cumulative fashion. To accumulate, I want to go into my function and push the add button. We get a big plus sign on the bottom. What it's going to do is keep a cumulative total in our mixed mode screen as to how much we have of each denomination, but it's going to segregate it out by denomination. So in this case, we should be getting 20s first. So I've got my 20s, 5 20s for $100. I had 150 for $50. When I remove the stack, you'll see this screen show up, and it's the mixed mode screen showing me I've got 5 20s for $100, 150 for $50. I'm going to continue on. It jumps back to my single screen. Here's a $50 bill. It did reject that the first time. I have had occasional rejects on that particular 50. This time it did pass it through. So it added that into my total. And I just keep going through my stack, segregating out my denominations as I'm working on my drawer total. When I'm all done, I still end up with 15 notes at a total of $229. The screen is not only an information screen, it is also a touch screen. So you can push the hard buttons on the left and right of the machine, or you can tap the screen at the button you want, and it will accept that. Okay, we've gone over the batch mode feature. We've gone over, I believe we went over the facing and the orienting. We've gone over the functions, what the function button does. The value screen, the value button clears out face and orient and gets us back into our value counting mode. We've gone over the auto and the mixed modes and the print button. Again, on the function, it takes us to our second screen. That's where we access the reject reason. We access the add button by pushing it a second time. It'll clear that off from our bottom screen total. Free mode counting, what that will do is it turns off all of the counterfeit detection. It will count the bills and disregard whether they're different denominations, disregard whether they're suspect counterfeits or not. Anytime that something kicks out into the reject pocket and it is a suspect counterfeit, the machine is not saying it is truly a counterfeit bill. All it is saying is that it has not met the parameters that the machine is looking for, and that bill should be scrutinized by the cashier, teller, or by someone to determine if in fact it is a counterfeit, or if it is just a severely worn bill or may have rejected for some other reasons that the sensors just failed to pick up on. That is it for the features and functions of the Toshiba IBS-200. We thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy your machine.